guys, I'm Jen. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be talking about recognizing when you've had to put up boundaries with somebody and disconnect from them, and recognizing if they're in a place where they're maybe wanting to reconcile and come back, and what that looks like and what it doesn't look like. So just some backstory. I've had a situation with my father where he doesn't respect my boundaries regarding like when he can show up, you know, calling ahead of time, how he shows up. So there are times where he'll come to like the kid's birthday party and he's talking about things that are very inappropriate for children. Like, it's not a fun part. It's not, for him, it's a fun topic because he always likes politics and, the news, and it's like really dark and depressing. It's not like a kid's birthday party is like where you have games and music and fun. And even as a child, I don't remember that being anything in our household. I mean, he had his Elvis Presley and stuff, but that was his thing. Outside of that, like, it was either that or church music. But I don't remember like dancing and enjoying and laughing a lot. So there's been a number of times where the way he keeps showing up is just not appropriate. It's actually kind of cruel, and it's cold energy from somebody who is supposed to be your family member. And so I experienced this as a child with him, but then when at one point when I had my kids, like, we weren't connected. He was not there. He was not invited to come see the kids. Like, we weren't talking at that point. So it's been kind of like rocky. And then my kids are in their 20s now, and so there are times when they were working their jobs as teenagers, he would just show up on at their job unannounced, which I've already told him about this whole, like, you can't just show up at my house unannounced. So he already knows we don't like this. And so what he does is he stops it with me and he does it with them. But he also, like, he likes to drive by people's homes and just drop in unannounced. And so there are times, and I also believe he drives by my house to check in just to see what's going on with me. And now a lot of people that have experienced that behave like this, like, they're still watching you and they're waiting for the right time to see if they're like, they could get, like, if now is the time that they could get back into your life, right? It's like they want to be part of your life, but they're not willing to compromise and change their behavior. And that's the problem, because they don't see their behavior as an issue. But it's an issue because, like, you're on the receiving end of it, right? And if you were to even try to treat them the way they've treated you, you know that there would be like an uproar, right? So it got to the point where he was really cruel to my kids when he was showing up there. It's humiliating for them as well. And a lot of the times he would show up in their workplaces so he can get supply from the workplace, right? He's got like a little cue card in his mind of like, sort of like his introduction for himself, where he tries to engage with other people and try to like get validation through these interactions with strangers, because it's a set of fresh eyes, right? And that's what people in this position, they need fresh eyes, because the people that eventually people pick up on who they are and they do move away. It's unfortunate because, like, instead of like reflecting and being like, what am I, like, what's going on here? They blame and they project and they don't reflect, right? So they don't take anything in. And so it got to the point where I've been very clear, like, there was an occasion, I can't remember exactly what happened, but where he was still picking up the kids, but like, I was like, I didn't want to talk to him. But then he also came to pick up the kids, and I'm like, I can be civil. I just don't want to continue on. Like, we're not going to be chatting and conversating, but he couldn't even be civil. Like, when he came to pick up the kids and saw me, he just walked right by. He couldn't even say hello. He couldn't even say hello. So like, when I've had, I don't agree with my kids all the time either, but like, if I see them, whenever I see them, I'm going to say hello. Like, they're my kids. I don't care how angry in the way that they're like, they're my kids. So like, this to me is a temporary situation where, I'm reflecting, and I've got to find out if my kids are mad at me. Is it something like I really did? I got to look at this, right? Because they're feeling hurt by something. And if they're saying I did something, and I know I haven't seen things in the past, there's a good chance that they could be right, because kids are actually picking up on all this stuff. And I just had to recognize, is this like they want ice cream for breakfast kind of thing and they're mad? Or is this like, Mom, like, you know what? I love you, but I'm tired of you doing this because it's getting old. Like, they're tired of my shit. And I know that because I've been tired of my own shit. So there was a time where like he couldn't even, and I just saw how immature my father was, and you see it as an adult, but then I had to like go through life, and like when I was receiving this from other people, I was just like, wow, this is actually my life. So like, well, it appears like you're used to your dad just being like that. You realize like that's not just your dad, and that is actually not okay. And so it got to the point where my boundaries got stricter and stricter, and like you know, I was blocking him on Messenger because he would message me through there, and like I said, there were times where he's still sending cards, so he can't talk to my face when he's picking up the kids, and I'm totally fine with it, like not talking to him when he drops them off. Like I don't I can handle a hi. I just don't want anything more than that, right? Like, because we're cordial, but or civil, I don't know what the difference is, but I'm not going to be rude to him. I just understand that we are not on the same page right now, and so he always has to take it to that like dark place where it's just like, wow, and like understanding like what I'm getting as an adult was what I received as a child, but probably worse, right? Because as an adult now, I feel like strong enough to stand up for myself, so it just gives me some insight to that. And so I finally told him if he keeps sending me gift cards, because he thinks like he can send me money and that keeps us in connection, right? And so I told him to stop, or I'm just going to throw them out. And he still sent them, and I just gave them to the kids, right? Because I'm not taking his money. And so then he decided he'd wait a bit longer and send me like a photo album. And I wish I saved the letter, but like in the letter it was like, I hope you enjoy looking through these photos and feeling the emotions that are, you know, and feel the nostalgia associated with these times. And, you know, and right then I'm like, that he's done this before with the emotions and the pictures. And I also had a cousin who, she did the same thing. I stopped responding to her text because I recognized that she was lying right to my face, and I realized she didn't like me. And I'll do a different story about that. But so I was like, I was just done playing. I was so done playing with these people, because I was just like, this is gross. And I just felt like, what is the point? It felt like, well, they're using me for filler. I felt like they were filler too, right? So that's where sometimes it's like they're mirroring our behavior, but for different reasons. So like they're using me as like when they get bored to fill, and I'm using them as a breadcrumb filler in the way that I don't have any friends in my life, and so I have these little boops. But like there's these people in my life, like I don't have a lot of them. They were very toxic, and so like they fill the void with their toxicity, where you can't see any healthy you know, sun coming through. So it's almost like people are standing up, like kind of holding up, you know, so and like reflecting, you know, this is people who this cousin would act, I'll do a different video about that. So so with my father, I recognized that he was trying to pull on my heartstrings, because that's what he would do when I was a child. He'd try to make me feel bad for him. When he did something bad, he would try to make us feel bad, like by feeling sorry for him, right? So that's where that pattern comes from. I would always feel bad for my partners, but I would see some sort of, you know, victim-y sort of innocence, and then what I wasn't realizing is just like that's feral energy. And so this time I threw this. So he sent me oh, sorry. So when he sent me that last photo album, I unblocked him and I said, instead of working on these photo books to send me, why don't you work on your family currently? You know, because he's always been into this genealogy and family tree, and he's been obsessed with it to the point where like he would prioritize that over us, and it was a hobby for him. It wasn't for money. It's for recognition. It's not to get paid for it. And I would, you know, there's one things I've done where I'm trying to like get to a place of career and do my own job, but like he's doing it for just to be seen, but he's spending more money than he's receiving in it. And not that that's, I mean, sometimes you have to go that route, but it's for the wrong reasons. And so he, you know, he would send me family tree stuff in the past, and I would never look at it. And you know why I'm never looking at it? Because for one, I'm not interested. But for two, he's never shown an interest in anything of mine. So as an adult, I realized that this guy doesn't care about me or my interests. And so I'm like, I stopped. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to look at a bunch of people I've never met. Like when I can't even get FaceTime with my own father in this current moment, right? So I was just like, this is ridiculous. So he already knew that we didn't have you know, an interest. And so I just sent him that message, like, to stop sending me these things and start repairing your connections with your family, because he's like 80-ish. And so I left that open to see what his, because here's the thing, I'm always leaving the door open for conversation, and I'm never receiving it. Every time I've left that door open for individuals that react the same way, I get ghosted. I get no response, right? Because it's accountability. And it's me speaking up for myself. And he needs me to conform to him instead of, you know, because remember, the world revolves around these individuals for whatever reason. And so, after that, I left it open, no response, and so I locked it again. I was like, this guy he's not interested. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe he doesn't know how to start a conversation. Maybe he doesn't know this, maybe this. And I'm like, he's just not interested. And it gave me a lot of insight. I'm going to do another video about how I recognize that. But so then, so instead, after I told him that was just one book of things, now he sends me, I got 3 books this time. Wait, there's supposed to be another one somewhere. No, there's 3 here. 1, 2. Where did the other one go? There's the story of the children. Oh, here it is. It's on the ground. Yeah. Memories of yesteryear. Story of his 3 children. And the history of his family coming from Holland. Now, here's the thing. It's interesting, and I have nothing against the project. It's actually pretty cool when I look through it. But the problem I'm having is, for one, is after I asked for a conversation, instead he like doubled down and just kept sending stuff. And I'm gonna read you the letter that came with it, just to give some insight as well. And then we'll go to the books that came about, because I think this is very representative of history repeating itself. Okay, and that's the problem, is like some people are quite comfortable with the way of the world because it works for them, and there's a lot of like masks and costumes and facades that they can hide under in order to get supply from the vulnerable. Okay, so dear Jen, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seen as vulnerable because I cry a lot. They see tears as a weakness, right? Because I was the crier of the family. That's weak to them. So dear Jen, I'm hoping all is well with you. As I was checking to make sure of your address on Google Maps, which is a lie. It's a lie. You don't need to, I can actually go in and look at Google Maps, because I've done this for Kijiji and things when I'm going to pick stuff up, trying to find out where the location is. You don't actually have to, like, you can get a bird's eye view, and then they give you that little button to push on the actual photo to get a photo. So that's already, he's already lying about. So now I know he has been driving by my house. Even if it showed up on there, it's weird that he had to mention this. This is a weird, remember, think about the information they add in. That's a weird thing to say. Dear Jen, I'm hoping all is well with you. That's fine. As I was checking to make sure of your address on Google Maps, I noticed that there seemed to be a change in your backyard. As I recall, you had spent a lot of time on it, making it nice. So that's a weird thing to say, because this is a man who can research and document years of our family tree, but he can't remember. He's not going to document my address. Because remember, he's still sending me stuff. He doesn't see this connection as ending. So like, he forgot my address. That's a lie. It's his segue. Because he's trying to appear like he has interest in me. Why? Okay, so just like when you transformed the backyard of your house on Wetter Ave, which was done well. Like it, and you also got to listen. Like it's very robotic. These people are, they haven't tapped into their it's not even emotional place, because they're emotional. They haven't tapped into their compassion for themselves or others, right? Remember, these people judge others harshly because they judge themselves harshly for whatever reason. So then, and then he says, I think you have a knack for that. Like, that's a knack for that. So like, I've done up 3 to 4 backyards, and I'm no landscaper, but I love what I create. And I wouldn't say I have a knack for it. I'm like, wow, like I'm growing my own plants. I'm growing from seed. I'm learning, like, it's very dismissive, like that kind of language, right? And remember, this is my father. So he's still having trouble giving me a full compliment. And let's be honest, so like, that's his compliment. And I know he's watching. I know he watches, maybe not the videos, but I know he's keeping an eye on my numbers. They watch your numbers because they're interested in the numbers and not like fulfillment, right? So if I'm doing a page and they don't see it, like, he's never liked my cards, and in a spiritual aspect, because a lot of men see that as like too woo-woo, which it can be, but he's very cold, calculated, and harsh. Okay, so then so that's the first paragraph. Anyway, anyway, like, enough about you. That one paragraph that was barely based on me, you know. And I have recently finished the history of the Jansen family tree, you know, which took me some 15 years to complete, which, I mean, he was doing this when I was a teenager. So that's a lie. 15 years to complete? No, he's been working on this since we were teenagers. I'm 47 this month. So what's 50? That would be 30. No, he's been working on this for like 30 years, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but he's like really doesn't understand, like, he really spent a lot of time working on this family tree instead of spending time with his family, right? I realize not everyone is interested in family history, but it is your history as well, and of course for Alex and Everett. And the reality of it is, like, that's interesting. He's very obsessed about history, but not like so much so that he's repeating it, right? You can glance through it or you can study it, which is weird. Like, why would I study it? That's weird. He knows that I don't have a huge interest in it, which I don't mind it. Like, I look through it. I'm like, yeah, this is interesting. This is kind of cool. But because I still know the people, you know, I always told him that. I said, I don't mind this. It's when you try to, like, because he'd always, like, he never paid one attention to my hobbies. Not one attention growing up. He liked the crafts that we did, but because he could post it and everyone could see it, and he liked arts, right, and music, but he didn't see any value in other things that we did. So, like, I would be like, I don't mind looking at this, and, like, I'll sit and listen to it, but at the same time, I'm like, when you go too far back and I don't recognize who those people, I don't mind, like, seeing the faces and how they're similar and stuff, like, oh, that looks like, you know, but that's not what's happening here. And it's like, it's too much. You need too much from me, and you're giving me not enough. Like, it's like, it's not an equal give and take. And I'm like, I can look through this and appreciate some of this stuff, but it's not my passion. And so it's not for me to be obsessed about. It's your passion to be obsessed about, but not to the point of, like, you really alienated your children because of this, right? So it's not necessarily about the projects either. It's like how people spend their time. And what comes from that, I think. Okay. And, oh, so you can glance through it or you can study it, and that's your choice. Okay. Thanks for the permission there. There's a picture of Oma when she's young, and it does sort of look like you when you're younger, which I looked through and I couldn't find anything. I looked nothing like that woman. And he's done this before. When he sent another book or mentioned something else about another book, he's like, I was looking through pictures and I found a picture where you look so much like your Aunt Ellie. And I'm like, can I just have permission to look like myself? Can I just be like, I'm a twin sister, identical. I have an identical twin. Well, as we grow up, we don't look so similar, and as children we did, right? Especially if you don't see us every day. So people like when we were out in public, people would point out, like, oh, you're twins, and oh, what are the differences? So it's very focused on our outward appearances. Nobody asked, like, what my favorite color was. Nobody said, well, do you like soccer and she likes bowling? Nobody cared. They just were, like, really about which is, they're strangers. It's not that deep, but, like, there's something like, that's a pattern. Because it wasn't just from strangers coming up and not recognizing my uniqueness. My father did that as well. So there's going to be things that you have that are triggers, and you may think it's not a big deal, but it's like, it's not necessarily from that stranger. It's like from something deeper within, that's just like coming up for you. So he does that all the time. Like, he's just very dismissive of me as a person, constantly removing things that make me who I am. Also, Aaron had asked me for pictures of when you guys were younger, so I went through many pictures and found what is in the picture book. I've lost some pictures over time, but it does reflect when you were younger, and you can show Everett and Alex how you looked when you were a toddler, etc. Another project that I recently completed is the Memories of Yesteryear, which I started about 3 years ago, and which I posted on the Facebook page. I'm not going to mention it, which I received a lot of positive comments on, which is a weird thing to add in there. I posted it here, which I received a lot of comments on. So he's like telling me about other people see value in me. You know, it basically describes many parts of our early life in Canada, what we did, where we lived, etc. You were fortunate when you grew up that you didn't have to move every year or so, as Aunt Ellie and I moved 8 times in 5 years before Opa and Oma bought our first house. It's hard to develop friendships when you move so many times, which that's confusing, because I thought he mentioned in the book where they bought a house when they were in their 40s. 8 times, so that's really weird. Like, that's confusing because in the book I read, yeah, he didn't. I think Opa was like 40s, in his 40s when they bought the first house, from what I understand. So 8 times, he moved 8 times in 5 years. Maybe he missed a number there. What, 15 years? Could it be 15? I don't know. Take your time in reading, as there is a lot of content, and I hope you will appreciate the work I've done, as many already have. So there's something about me not able to appreciate his work, but he's totally missing. Like, he's missing so much of the middle, right? And he's just taking, like, the rejection of, like, I don't want to be around you, I don't want to have anything to do with your work, is like he's taking it as his work. It's not necessarily the work. It's like you as a person, like, you don't give what you, like, you never gave that to me. You never appreciated me. You never cherished me as a child and nurtured me and gave time to me. But now you're requesting something of me that you never gave to me. Like, you didn't validate my project. You didn't validate. You criticized me. You tried to control me and raise me into an image of you that you thought was successful. And so anytime I tried to step outside that box, like, I was reprimanded and not kind. So take care and enjoy your upcoming birthday. All the best. Love, Dad. We don't talk. We're not friendly. This is, do you see how he's still talking to me like we're on a good, like, if I blocked you, there is a reason why I don't block anybody. I block people who I don't want to ever hear from, because I'm not, like, you're very toxic, and when I do hear from you, it's very dismissive, and it's cruel, and it's ugh, right? So, like, it's so weird. And then, like, so that's what I mean. It's like he totally dismisses the way he's talking here. It's like he's just catching up. Hey, Jen, I just sent you something. Hey, yeah. It's almost like we just talked last week and then had a barbecue. So, but I have some photo albums I forgot to drop off. That's what the energy of the letter is, and that is not our connection. The reason why I can't have him in my life is how destructive and damaging he is. But he doesn't want to acknowledge that. Here's to wish you all the joys of life, and then to tell you too that we are glad to have a wonderful daughter like you. Have an extra special day. Wishing you a fantastic birthday celebration. Love, Dad. The picture is really pretty, right? The message is very warm, but he is very cold. Okay, so then what else was it? Did I want to look through? So something I noticed in here, he goes through and he's like narrating these pictures and the events that happened, right? Something I noticed while looking through these pictures is nobody is smiling. So, like, in my pictures, like, everyone's smiling for the most part, right? Even if it's a fake smile, mostly. But, like, in his photos, nobody is smiling for the most part. It's very odd. And I think because it is in black and white, that makes it kind of creepy. If I'm gonna be honest, some of the people, these pictures definitely have, like, I don't know if that's my own, perspective, like, black and white creepy, but yeah. And so, like, my dad always used to, like, make us feel guilty for what he gave to us. Like, we didn't appreciate it enough. And like, he didn't have this growing up. And while I do feel like we had an abundance of, like, toys and things that we probably didn't need as much of, we didn't have play unless we played outside with our friends. Like, my father never played with us. I don't remember playing with my parents at all. I don't remember having one-on-one time very often at all. I feel like we're just like cattle, like we're, part of the herd, and where it's kind of like there's no one-on-one attention, but we're all dressed the same. If one kid did something, we all got blamed for it because my parents didn't know how to, like, they weren't supervising us properly, and they weren't really paying attention to things. And so, like, when something would happen, like, we'd all get reprimanded because Dad was so pissed off and stressful, but, like, it's because he wasn't taking the time to give us the time to learn, to teach, and to guide, and to supervise, right? And so he was placing these expectations of how he wanted us to behave, but he could show us how to do it because he didn't know how to behave either, right? No one took the time with him, so he placed these expectations on us. And then so like in reality, like we were ruled out of fear. So dad would get loud and aggressive, and he would give us that look at the dinner table when he was pissed off. And you know what, he ruled with his fist on the table and tried to accentuate his message with like that fist on the wooden dinner table. He was just I just remember him being miserable. But then at the grocery store with a complete stranger, he was so friendly and was so confused. I'm like, what is going on here? And then when you look at these pictures, I'm like, I look like a really cute little kid there. And I'm super put together, and my hair's in a ponytail, and I'm happy, and I'm dressed well. And so like on the outside, it looks like I had everything I needed, but on the inside, I was emotionally unavailable in the way that like nobody was tapping into my emotional place, which is that humanity, that like that human aspect that we all have, where it's like, how are you feeling about this? Like that safe space to express how you feel, whether it be like, and not just only select emotions. Like my dad needs to be validated and be happy for his accomplishments, but I'm not allowed to be happy. He's not happy for mine. So like that's what happened as a child for me. So he was not happy for my accomplishments, but required me to show up and be like extra excited for like when dad did a gold, like he needed a gold star from his child. But when his child was like really excelling in life after everything that he was like placing on them as a wet blanket of a parent, in a fear mind, that's nothing, right? It's crazy. And then so when I look back here, I'm like, wow, like dad made it sound like he was just like he went without. And while he had to come over here on a boat, and those conditions were not ideal from what I understand, but when I see the pictures, I'm like, that's the kind of boat that people take when they're on a cruise, except without the games and the fun, right? So yeah, and I don't want to dismiss it because I don't know how long it took. I don't know. I personally would never go on a cruise, even if it involved fun, because I don't like the quarters. It's too small for quarters for me. So I don't know if that's something like that would not be fun for me. I know as a kid, spaces are different. So like what this room is bigger would be bigger, right? And him having to move from school to school, that would be definitely challenging. But I could also see where like you'd be the new kid often, which would be at the hands of the bully, but then you'd also be the new kid where a lot of people like see you as like the new kid, and you're fun, and you're new. I can see both sides of that not being like the benefits and the downfalls. And so yeah, it's just interesting because like his language in this book and in these pictures is very different than the father I remember. And I'm reading it, and it's empty. It's 2D. It's very 2D. It's like he's explaining the picture, but there's no emotion in it, And he really paints himself out to be like this caring individual, and I don't remember that. I remember he used to cry at Dances with Wolves. And I did too, because I'm like, this is a horrible way to treat people. But he treated people horribly. So, like, I think some people tend to cry because they haven't acknowledged their own pain, and they try to, I don't know what that is. Because I could see, like, he would cry in the orchestra because the music really touched him. And that's wonderful. But, like, how can one man cry at an orchestra but then be like this cruel, isolating, and you know what I mean? Like it doesn't match an empath. An empath cries because they hate the suffering of other people, but this man made other people suffer. And don't get me wrong, like I'm sure he suffered at the hands of other people, but he passed on the pain without acknowledging it, right? And then he wants to try, like these are the books he's leaving behind. His story is written in these pages, but it's in his words and his perspective, and his perspective is not what I experienced. That is not the dad I knew. That is not the dad I experienced. And I think this happens in history a lot, where we have these textbooks, and we have these Bibles, and we have, even like academic books are based in someone else's reality, where they haven't actually had a certain experience, but they're just preaching from a pedestal that was placed for them, but not like from the experience of like getting down in the nitty gritty, if that makes sense. Like my dad was a hard worker, don't get me wrong, but like the things he worked on was like what other people could see, and what he didn't work on was his internal pain, right? And so his internal pain affected the inside of the house, and he reserved his exterior, you know, charm and a little bit of victim, a little bit, you know, like he's a martyr. He's like, he works so hard, but he doesn't get paid. He doesn't get recognized for his efforts, which he did work really hard. But the thing is like, it's just for all the wrong reasons. When you work hard for all the wrong reasons, you're going to have to come back from that to readjust your compass, your internal compass. And instead, he just doubled down. And he's, like I said, he's like 80-ish. And he still is not, he's not willing to, he's still doing the same thing. He's still looking. It's still all about him. The world is still revolving. He's trying to appear like he's, you know, connected and kind, but he still hasn't done anything different. He's still the same. And you know what? I'm glad I didn't throw the books out, because I was allowed to, like, if you watched my previous, I did a live this morning about this, but, you know, it helped me to really release the pain that I was carrying for my family. And I think I still had some resentment holding on to that, which if I still have emotion left, it means I'm still hoping for something that I've seen no evidence of. You know, it's like I'm still letting this situation affect me and the pace that I move, because there are times when you feel like when I feel I'm going to be doing something different. If I still have resentment within me, I'm going to be doing something with that chip on my shoulder, and it's going to affect, it's going to put me in one of those extremes, right? It's going to put me in one of those extremes, one side to the other. So in order to be balanced off and neutral and release the pain, in order to really follow my heart, then I have to find out what am I feeling still resentful of, and there's still grieving to be done. And sometimes this happens, like, it doesn't just, it's not like a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. It can be 1 2 2 2 1 7. Well, maybe not like that, but like it's like a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, sorry about the camera. And even when you get to the end, like, you still find, oh, I thought I was near the end of this, and then you realize, oh no, I still got more to do, and that's fine. I don't know what this looks like completely, but I know I can look at different stages of it, and then I can see how, when I look back from those stages, I'm like, oh, this is further than I got before. Okay, this is progress. This is, I'm growing, and I'm releasing this, because you got to think, like, this is stuff, like, he is 80, and he's still not, that's my father. That's my father. Is unwilling to acknowledge, like, he can't see me in my full version. That's sad. I've done a lot of good things, but he can only give, like, small compliments, and they're empty, and they're not like recognizing or seeing me. There's something, like, the only compliments I get is, like, if he can take that compliment and invest it in himself and say, like, that's my daughter, she's such a great mom. But I'm like, you know what, Dad, I'm a great mom because you were a bad dad. And I don't like to use words good or bad, but, like, that's just in this situation, that's how I'm gonna say it, because, like, that's just how it was. And so, like, if you were to let me speak that part, he wouldn't want to hear it. You know, he wouldn't want to hear it. He doesn't want to hear that fact. You know, I maul my kids because I received zero. The only time I got a cuddle was when my dad wanted someone to cuddle with, and his mom, like, my mom was like, I'm not hanging out with him. She couldn't stand him for the most of the time either. They were not compatible either. And she was not very nurturing either. Like, she had moments, but, like, she was tired. You know, she was tired too. We were all just, it's exhausting. When you have someone like that in the room, it's exhausting. And they really do bleed on everybody else. And so it's, this past weekend I grieved for, like, my family, because, like, while I can't connect with them in the state that they're in, it doesn't mean I didn't want to. It didn't mean that I hold any ill will. I think this weekend really allowed me to release a lot of stuff. And I don't know, there might be more. There might be more, you never know. It's still coming up. And so I'm in a time where I'm resting and recovering still. And it's taking a lot longer, and I'm not mad about it. So hopefully this is helpful for you guys, just to recognize too how they do tend to come back, and it's not for you, it's for their benefit. They're looking something in their life, they either need something from you, they need you for something. It's not actually about you, it's what you represent. It's like you could be building and growing something, you could have a home, they're running out of a home, they're like, there's something where it's like something that they need from you that they were never able to give to you. I honestly feel like that's kind of what it is. And it could be even like something that you're doing that they refuse to give you credit for. That's where they might give you a little bit of something, but remember, it's still all for them. It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. And like I said, anyone that I've seen show up in this sort of energy, whether it be family members or partners or people, like I just never experienced a real remorseful apology, unfortunately, from them. And so I think that's what it was for this weekend, was like, you know what, this is giving myself permission to kind of close a book and close a chapter, and I don't know, let myself go. Instead of like always letting them go, it's like let myself go. And I think that means moving on up. So hopefully this was helpful, guys, and be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to be doing some different videos, and I think they're going to be interesting. So with that being said, I'd love to have some like-minded individuals in my crew, and I think that involves you. So like, subscribe, hit that bell, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and take care.